Hey everyone, talking about how to decide which fragrance or fragrances to bring with you on a vacation. It may sound kind of obvious because, like, oh, just bring decants of all of them or just bring ones you like, but there's actually a bunch of factors that could go into it. And especially if you're not the type of person who is or who can take a vacation constantly and you really want it to be special, if you're watching this, you're obviously probably really into fragrance, and that can play a big part in kind of the mood of any day, let alone a special occasion. So, yeah, these are some factors that I think are good to take into account. One, weather, of course. It's going to be a big difference if you're going to someplace like Hawaii during the peak of the hot season versus, Antarctica or something like that. There's certain fragrances that can really fall flat during certain types of weather. For example, if something's like really thickly sweet or dense, hot weather, you could end up feeling nauseated. On the other hand, if it's really fresh and just some bright citrus, it's not going to hit the same during cold weather. So taking that into account, and I've done or will do separate videos on like ones that are good for hot weather versus cold, but this is just about that in general and taking that into account of, yeah, do you want something, and it maybe you want, to take that into account in the sense of like, oh, okay, you only want to bring one or two little things of it, but you don't know, like it could be someplace where it's the type of place where there's suddenly a tropical rainstorm and then it's really hot the next day. You could also specifically choose ones that are very versatile for any weather. Two, what type of vacation is it? Will you be mainly lounging around, or will there be a lot of hiking or other kind of physically strenuous activities? Because there's some that if you're like sweating a lot and just everything, it's not going to go as well with it or whatever. And others where it's like it can help, enhance the relaxation vibe even more. So if there's one where you're just doing, a very relaxing one, like maybe bring something to kind of accentuate that even further. And if there's one where you're doing, say, hiking, maybe you'd want to like green fresh one and things like that. So just kind of taking into account sort of like roughly what sort of activities, what type of vacation is this that you're going for. Three, are you looking to meet people in a romantic or hookup type of way? Versus, like, say that you are in a monogamous relationship and you're going there. Of course, maybe you want to smell sexy for your partner or whatever, but that's a big difference versus like you're going to be going clubbing or clubbing as if I do that. Not that I'm single anyway, but like, yeah, if you're just doing some activity where you're hoping to meet somebody and connect with them and you're hoping, you want to like smell sexy or attractive or whatever like that, bringing one specifically that either just you think smells that way or that gives you that kind of confidence of that feeling of, sexiness or whatever. That, yeah, versus like if you are going with your partner and kids or something like that, probably not, you're not going to be going out and meeting people most likely, even if you were poly or something, if you're with your kids there. And yeah, so that's another thing to take into account. Next, who are you traveling with? Because this could be something like, say that you're staying in a hotel with your partner and they hate some of your fragrances. Yes, on one hand, just, to be respectful, best not to wear it around them. But second, it is going to be such a buzzkill. You're on this vacation, everything, and then it's like you spray it on and then it's like, what are you wearing that one I hate with the daffodil? Or whatever. Thing like that. Yeah, so just don't do it, even if you don't care about the respectful part. You please at least, just for your own, the selfish part of it, at least care, like, for the vacation's sake, that it's just not going to be fun for anybody. If you are in close quarters with someone that hates a certain fragrance, no matter how much you love it, just wear it a different time. Like, I don't think that's a good one to bring in that situation. Next, do you want to have a scent that's going to remind you of the vacation every time you smell it in the future? And that could go a couple ways, because one, you might be like, yeah, duh, like, why wouldn't I? That's great. But then that means you can't just wear it regularly before, or especially not after the vacation. So it does mean like picking one or a few and setting them aside and just kind of reserving it for that purpose. So if that's important to you, it's totally worth trying some, maybe sample some new ones and stuff like that if you don't want to stop wearing any that you have. And pick one that you're only going to wear on that vacation, wear it a lot, and then once in a while, when you're back home and you're just like, work sucks, I know. You can take off the cap or whatever, just spray it and smell it. And as long as you don't do that like every day, when it would lose the magic, you can just like get that feeling of like, whoa, like the scent memory of being on that vacation again. And then one thing I would say about that though is don't bring a fragrance that you've never worn before or that you've only tested on a test strip or smelled, quickly in a department store or something. At least just do like a test wear of it a few times before you go, because that would really suck if it's like, you get something, you think you like it, and then it just doesn't really work with your skin or for that type of vibe that you're going for, but then that's the one fragrance that you brought there, especially if it's someplace where, or you can't afford to, just go out and buy a different fragrance while you're there or something. So yeah, don't bring something that you've literally never tested or tried or just like blind bought and never used before, but you could definitely pick or find a new one that is something that, just wear a few tests of it to make sure it works for you and then use it for that. Next, sort of similar to one of the earlier ones, is there any particular feeling or mood that the trip is going to revolve around? For example, is this, like earlier when I was saying that it was more about the physical part, like physically strenuous activities versus just like lying down on a beach chair, but this is more about the mood behind that. And for example, is it like a high adventure, like skydiving, parasailing, motorcycling? I mean, people motorcycle every day, but you know what I mean? Like one of those type of trips where you want this adrenaline rush, and that's just like kind of like, yeah, let's have this badass trip and blah, blah, blah. Or is it the type of trip where what you want more than anything is like, oh, I just need a break from shit, just get massages and have drinks by the pool or whatever type of relaxing vibe, because you can amplify your mood with fragrance. And even if that's something people don't always consciously think about, anybody who's really into fragrance has like experienced that kind of vibe. So say that you want the really adventurous one, you might pick like a certain badass fragrance or one that makes you feel more badass and kind of edgy to wear for that trip to sort of like really dial in and amplify that vibe of the vacation even more. On the other hand, if you are trying to get one that's just like relaxing, doesn't even have to be by the beach or by a pool. You could be in a motel in a snowed in area or something, just like something that has a very relaxing, calming vibes for you to just kind of like dial that in even more. And so those are the main reasons that I would take into account in the situation. And another thing is that I would say, and this isn't about choosing a fragrance, but just in general for this situation, get some empty atomizers, or like, but bigger than this. Like you can order them online for pretty cheap, so that you can bring, for a couple of reasons. Like one, don't bring your whole bottle unless for some reason you absolutely have to. One, like TSA could take it away if it's over the weight or amount of liquid or whatever. Two, it could break. Imagine that happening in your suitcase and all of your stuff. Three, it's heavier to carry around, like, and that's just like wasteful. Like why would you need to? It could get stolen. Instead, you can get a decant, like, 10 milliliters, 5 milliliters, something that unless you're going for like months and months, it's doubtful that you're possibly going to run through. And yeah, just put some of your fragrance into that so that you could bring that. Then also that enables you to bring a couple if you want to like mix and match different stuff. So yeah, I hope if anybody's going on vacation soon that you have a good time, and that this maybe helped a little bit in picking out what fragrances to bring with you.